Good evening.
Channel 17, WJKS, signed on at 11 a.m. on February 19, 1966, as Jacksonville's full-time ABC affiliate. At the time, 17 was the only local UHF station on the air. Previously, in the 50s, the Jacksonville Journal operated at Channel 36 on Phillips Highway with little success, leaving the air after Channel 12 signed on. So he had to educate viewers on how to watch a UHF station.
Some folks tell us that this small bow tie antenna improves the color reception of Channel 17. Now, if you're using one of these loop antennas, you may want to consider discarding it in favor of the bow tie, which can be easily installed and directed towards Channel 17's transmitting tower. We believe it's a better indoor antenna. Why not call the nearest television serviceman listed in the yellow pages of your directory, or if you're a do-it-yourself type, the bow tie can be easily installed with only a screwdriver and may be purchased directly from Channel 17 for just $1.50. Send your check or money order to Bow Tie, Post Office Box 16001, Jacksonville, Florida.
Being an upstart UHF station with the youthful ABC image didn't cause us to shy away from serving the community with numerous studio productions, Pulse News, News Seen Tonight, and extensive coverage of the 1972 presidential campaign. Including this surprise endorsement from the incumbent.
I wanted to say welcome to Jacksonville.
ABC. Well, I'm glad to see you. 17. Howard Smith station. Right,
Absolutely.
right.
Right on.
It's a great commentator. Great. They're all good, but Smith is one of the commentators who understood and understands American foreign policy, understood it in World War II, and now understands it. And we've appreciated his commentary. And also, we like ABC Sports very well.
17 was also a very eager partner for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, with General Manager Ralph Becker taking one of several for the team.
Hi, I'm Ralph Becker, Vice President and General Manager, WJKS-TV. We at Channel 17 want to make the 1973 Muscular Dystrophy Telethon more successful than ever before. My employees will contribute $50 to get to hit me with a pie. You want to hit me with a pie too? Take out your frustrations on TV? Contribute $50. Be here on Labor Day, 2 to 6 a.m. Hit me with a pie. I've got to go now. We have $77.62. How about that? And they've been around collecting this. Let's see you throw it into the fish grill. There you go, right into the fish grill.
Brunswick, $1,699. Way to go, Brunswick. And Waycross, $564. Ralph?
Okay, Ricky Cohen, $25. Thank you very much, Ricky. $40 from Pat Dunaway.
Another popular feature was News for Little People, hosted by sports director Christine Sykes, and from 1973 to 75 by reporter Pat Weinstein, accompanied by production manager Terry Walden as Dusty the Dragon.
What is a youngster maybe that's watching today, what does he have to study in school, or what should he try to do maybe to be a mayor of a city?
I know what the teacher says to study, and you should study political science and history and civics and that sort of thing.
So you should just pay attention to what's going on all the time, right?
That's right.
You have your nose guard.
Gills and everything.
Wait, hold it.
What? Oh, look out!
Is that better?
Well, that's not bad, but it's on my nose. I can't talk to you like that.
Oh, okay, I think that's better
Thank
now.
you. What about the Florida Sharks?
Well, now that you mention it, it's a brand new team and a brand new football league, and they may be settling down in Jacksonville.
By the late 70s, under news director Mark Aldrin, 17 played spoiler in the daily news race, with a concise 5-minute newscast at 5:55, followed by ABC News at 6. In 1978, 17 acquired the talent of the legendary Burt Rozelle, and expanded Newswatch to a 5:30 p.m. start. And ABC was riding high, but there were still concerns about the UHF dial position. Coming up, change, growth, and more history as Channel 17 celebrates 50 years.
Congratulations, Channel 17, for 50 years of broadcasting in Jacksonville.
In 1980, Channel 17 picked up NBC. At the time, ABC was the #1 network. And also at the time, in the business, there was a perceived advantage to being on a VHF channel. So ABC ended its 14-year relationship with 17. But our pride was showing with a new network and new programming. And long before the Jaguars, we had pride in our local sports. From this 1981 newscast, coverage of the American Football Association Firebirds, the team-in of the North American Soccer League, no doubt familiar to today's Armada fans, shown here scoring over the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and a report on the professional wrestling scene, especially Don Curtis's Sunbelt Wrestling.
Newswatch 17, the new choice for news.
Media General purchased Channel 17 from Ziff Davis in late 1982 and made an almost immediate investment in the local news product.
After a nice sunny, warm weekend, we have a cold front headed our way. I'll have my forecast all the way through the rest of the week a little bit later.
But we weren't the only place in Jacksonville to see technological advancements.
Research also takes place at community hospitals, such as the investigational eye surgery, which occurs here in the Ambulatory Care Center at Methodist Hospital in Jacksonville. Jacksonville eye surgeon Dr. Jerry W. Maida began investigating radiokeratotomies, popularly called RKs, 2 years ago after studying the procedure with the Russian eye surgeon who developed it. The operation is believed to cure nearsightedness.
There are no showers showing up right now, a little bit of ground clutter near the center of the screen.
Roll the tape in there.
But some science around here never changes, right? Weather is always in the news.
And so it goes in this early edition of Sunday News Watch. We'll be back at 11, and we hope you will too. Have a pleasant evening.
Something happened indeed. By 1988, NBC had climbed to the top of the ratings, which meant 17 was reunited with ABC.
Well, once again, we do have a new warning out for the area, and it appears that very heavy rains have fallen along Jacks Beach, and they have some stalled cars along the 3rd Street and whatnot.
And once again in Jacksonville, weather was news, as the Southeast braced for Hurricane Hugo. In 1991, Channel 17 began producing newscasts for a competing station, a practice now common in the industry. Yes, we were the original First Coast News. This improved the reach of our news product, but in 1994, it went nationwide, as U.S. Attorney Larry Colleton rather viciously declined an interview with Richard Rose.
Look, I'm not going to put up with this. Get away from me. Get away from me. I'm not going to get put.
Colleton was reassigned. In the summer of 1995, Jacksonville took center stage for athletic battle, as Channel 17 aired the first ever Jaguars game in team history, the Hall of Fame game from Canton. Back home, we hosted a VIP screening at the Landing. Then a couple weeks later.
Now, get it all in 30 minutes. This is 17 First Coast News at 6.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
After years of waiting, Jacksonville is ready to play pro ball as the newly renovated stadium opens. It looks like a good time. I think you and I should head out there right now.
I'm going. The scene was set. Everything was fine. It was a beautiful night. The Jags played well in the first half, and, well, I think you know what happened. We'll look at the highlights and the lowlights and a whole lot more in the Day in Sports when we come back.
The team couldn't claim rebuilding then, but support continued building as 17 produced the popular Monday Night Fan Ball. Unfortunately, our Monday night sports dominance would soon end.
ABC has disclosed its intent to end its long-standing relationship with Channel 17.
While the move isn't official yet, ABC says it intends to move the affiliation to WBSG-TV in Brunswick, Georgia. That station was bought yesterday by All Britain Communications, which, with this move, will operate 9 ABC-affiliated stations. All Britain says it intends to move the broadcast tower closer to the Florida line and serve both the Jacksonville and Brunswick markets. The move is not expected to occur until at least the first of next year. Media General, which owns WJKS, along with other TV stations and newspapers, said the switch was totally unexpected. The company says it is exploring all options but won't comment further, at least at this time. ABC declined comment pending its official notification to WJKS. Channel 17 signed on the air with ABC as its network 30 years ago next Monday. Channel 17 management says the move by ABC to disaffiliate, if you will, with WJKS didn't have anything to do with the station's performance.
So the way we reconstructed it is that ABC goes to a major group and said, we want a 10-year contract with you. And the major group says, being negotiators that they are, that's fine. Here's what we'd like. And they looked at some areas where they thought they might be able to do something for ABC, and they pointed to Birmingham, Alabama, where they did a switch. They pointed to Jacksonville, Florida, where they did a switch. And they pointed to Charleston, where they did a switch. So when you say that it wasn't related to the performance, that's the reason. ABC told us repeatedly on the telephone and in discussions face-to-face in New York, this isn't really an issue of Media General's WJKS in Jacksonville, Florida. The company itself did some research and said that Warner Brothers stations on the whole around the United States, particularly in markets smaller than, say, the 25th market, and we're market rank 54, to maintain a competitive news operation was not economically viable. It takes an awful lot of money. It takes a minimum of a couple $1 million even for this station to maintain a news operation. All Britain is a news company. They're going to make a major commitment. I think they've got to work out yet how they're going to cover the entire market. Their present plan is to operate from right near their existing location near Brunswick, which puts a grade B signal just a little south of I-10.
People identify with the local news operation, which in many instances makes the station. That gives any station its presence in the community. How can a Warner Brothers station with no local news operation and no major local tie as a result hope to really be a power?
All right, let me start by saying congratulations to Channel 17. And I mean, look at all these logos. I don't know what the heck to call them. We'll just call them Channel 17. Now, 50 years on the air, and hard to believe it was 25 years ago that I was here. Where has the time gone? I look back on my time here at Channel 17 with a ton of great memories. For one, I was just starting in broadcasting. So you come in here with some wide eyes and some respect for guys like Glenn Fisher and Irv White, who I worked with in the sports department, how much fun I had learning on the run here, how competitive and serious we took ourselves, but we always worked as hard as the guys across the street. We thought we did just as good a job and worked with a ton of great people who have gone on to great things from here. Me, not so much. I do AM radio across the street, but nonetheless, it was a good starting point.
In 1997, Channel 17 experienced the biggest change in our history, partnering with our third network, aimed at the new generation of viewers. And we definitely had a lot of fun in the absence of a hard news image.
Watch the frog. Sure.
In 2006, we did what we seem to do best. 17 rebranded after UPN merged with the WB to form the CW. 3 years later, Media General sold the station to our current owner, Nexstar. With Nexstar came a renewed focus on serving Jacksonville through long-form programming, special events, and live sports produced in and out of our facilities. In many ways, Channel 17 has returned to its roots of 50 years ago. To quote a pre-launch announcement, "We are not about to wait for a slow fuse explosion. We're out to create our own shockwave of interest. We're proud to become part of the television community. With your help, we will grow and prosper. Life will not be dull along the way. Life will be a little richer as we get there." Coming up, we'll hear from veterans of Channel 17, celebrating 50 years. Earlier this week, the Jacksonville Broadcasters Association hosted a luncheon to honor Channel 17's 50 years of broadcasting.
I've waited 40 years to wear this shirt again.
There you go.
When we started out, we were Russ Kraft, and then Russ Kraft was acquired by, or at least the station was acquired by Zip Davis. And so we saw some improvement, and then after Zip Davis, Media General came in, and each time a new owner came in, we saw some marked improvement. And so it was enough just to keep us energized and keep us going. So we went from, in the Russ Kraft days, like sitting in front of an old blue carpet. And we thought we had arrived when we got our first set, when we got our first car. One of the things I would say that has stuck with me for a very long time was the ability to multitask. And that's one thing I think we all learned at Channel 17. We wore more hats because we were so lean. At the time that I joined the station, I was the one woman out of 6 or 7, actually. There were 6 men in the newsroom at the time. And a lot of people don't know that we were photographers and reporters. So you went out as a team and you shot one person's story, and then they turn around and shot your story. But I also was what they called then the weather girl, because we got the weather off the wire from the National Weather Service. Hosted a 5-minute talk show on Thursday night called About Town, weekly art show.
And by the way, Karen, I was the first to do About Town.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I guess one of the most exciting things that I did when I was at the station was to be a part of when we got an RCA TK-76 minicam. And that was in our creative services department that was newly created because we had the RCA TK-76 minicam that the sales department went crazy about and took pictures of and sent out all of these flyers to all of the people. So we had a great time going out and not having to have slides anymore and using less film and showing off videotape.
Channel 17 came up in the ratings. How your network did really affected things. Absolutely. We came up in the ratings thanks to Mork and Mindy and Charlie's Angels. And then Channel 12, they want it. So they take ABC. Well, we come up with Bill Cosby and Night Court and St. Elsewhere. And 17, which you had to have the rabbit ears and you had to get the rabbit, you had to get them just right to get in the station. Channel 17 was number 2, sign on to sign off, in this market during that time. And our ratings were, they were right up to number 2.
For me personally, I know I worked a lot harder then because I was just determined to do whatever I could on my side in my little window of sports to help us get to where we wanted to go. And it was just a special time back then. We went through one promotion where the Tiger Tails, we were the Tigers, Newswatch Tigers, and everything was wrapped like a tiger tail. But again, they were doing things to try to make an impact, and it was a lot of fun back then.
Yeah, and I remember when Media General first took over, we had a big event. They brought in the stars from Hill Street Blues, and Willard Scott came and drank water out of the St. Johns River.
And Willard Scott wanted to wear my carnation. I don't know if you remember when I came back and wore a flower. And Willard always did too. And he came up to me and said, can I use your flower? I said, no, you can't have my flower. That's my signature. Florida State was, in the early 70s, had some of their better teams. They were going to the Orange Bowl for the national championship game. I think it was Oklahoma, right? Right. And Gary Adler was our general manager. And we were, he was tight-fisted. We were on a very tight budget. So we asked him if we could go cover the Orange Bowl. And at first he said no, and then he said, well, you can, but I won't pay any expenses. I'll let you take the company car, but we won't pay any expenses. So Mike and I said, all right, we'll go. We jump in the car, we go down. Didn't have a place to stay. Didn't know what we were going to do. We just knew we wanted to see the game, we wanted to cover it. And that was also the game where I had done a video for the Ballad of Bobby Bowden. And so that was being played at the halftime of the game. So anyway, we get down there, don't have a place to stay. The game is played. Florida State loses. We're unhappy. I'm standing on the field with this microphone, doing the close for my stand-up, and they turn the lights out. You know, what else go on? I said, look, we got to get this to the bus station. Then we got to go find a place to stay. I had a friend that was staying down there somehow, before cell phones and GPSs and all those things. We found him down in Coconut Grove, and we were able to stay there.
Slept on the floor?
Huh?
Slept on the floor?
Yeah, slept on the floor, but at least it was inside, and not in the back of the car.
I think y'all had to leave the building because there was some concern about the transmitter.
Oh.
And yeah, that's what I was starting to get to.
Oh,
when I heard about that story, that was incredible.
You had me confused because it really wasn't the transmitter. They were installing a new antenna on the top of the tower.
Aha.
And it was like 25 feet tall, you know, this big around. It was laying on its side, delivered on a gigantic semi-flatbed truck. And they had another crane that was going to lift it. And so that day, they asked, you know, non-essential personnel. I never really knew what that meant. But anyway, they asked everybody to leave the building. So what do? We all go stand underneath the tower and watch them. So as we are all getting out there, somebody yells from up there that they've lost control of it. And so there's an engineer and a switcher guy still in the building, so they will run in there and tell them all to come out. So for about what amounts to maybe 30 to 45 minutes, there's nothing going on the station because, you know, the film ran out.
I will tell you this, that you mentioned one of the top-rated CW affiliates in the country. The reason is because of the 50 years of broadcasting that's behind it. You know, every time people say, how come you guys are always in the top 10 and always seen as a model affiliate? And it's because it's a legacy station, and because of all the great stories and great work that the people have put in at the station is making it as the success it is today. So not only is it a great CW station, it's a great local station. Certainly the news has been a big impact on that, and it's really helped us revitalize that with a lot of the new local programming we're doing.
We are Jacksonville.